Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to Prime Hour on My Media Prime, an edition that is going to be looking at relationship and marriage issues, as has been the case every Tuesday on Prime Hour on My Media Prime TV. This evening, we're going to be looking at parenting, asking the questions as to why many more children are growing wayward today. Who is responsible for that? How much attention is given to the child upbringing of either from either the mother or the father? Can we also say that children are growing wayward the more because of the lack of control and monitoring by our school authorities, amongst others? Okay, we also are going to be looking at a phenomenon that is growing in not only in Cameroon but across Africa and the world at large, that has to do with growing single mothers. Many more women are not interested in settling down in the homes of men as married women. They prefer to have their children and go about with their lives as single mothers and are very proud of it. Many more don't know whether they would not want to submit to a man, or the fact that men have become scarce these. We are discussing this with our panelists who are in the House Apostle. Ambe Valentine, who is a permanent consultant, who is with me this evening. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, Cameroonians. Good evening, co-panelist, Mr. Apostle Lefort Divine. Thank you very much for this very sensitive topic, Mr. Leo. I'm sure parents have been calling from far and near, asking for this topic. And once somebody said, "Why don't you guys discover parenting?" I said, "No, it will come. We deal with from one topic to another." Thank God we are here today with this topic.
We also are in the company of the Love Doctor, Apostle Lefort Divine, coming from Boya, Southwest Regional Capital. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. It's been a while. We thank God. It's been a while. We've, for one reason or the other, I know people have been asking. Well, last Tuesday I could not be here because I was having it was my anniversary celebration. So Madam said, we'll only receive your greetings from here. But I'm glad to be here again today. It has been awesome, beautiful topic, I must say, and I've been looking forward to this topic personally, and I believe we're going to have a very beautiful time with all our viewers all over the world. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding will come again, and I'm sure we're going to buttress this. We're going to do justice with all the panelists on board. Thank you.
We also are going to be having contributions from Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital, through Ms. Sanji Yvette, who will be contributing heavily in today's edition of the program. Apostle Ambe Valentine Gwal, let me start off with you. Parenting, what do we even mean by that?
Yeah, Mr. Leo, parenting actually is very complex in definition, because we have a parent and we have parents. A parent could be a single mother, a parent could be a single father, and parents could be mother and father. But this, to me, simple definition is the responsibility given to people who are either biological fathers, mother, or guardians to train up a child with moral standards, educational balance, and societal interaction. If a parent does not carry out these responsibilities I've mentioned, then the person is not carrying out actually what is parenting. Being a father or a mother does not make you a parent. Parenting is totally different from the adjective or the description of man being a father or a mother. You could be a mother, but you are not doing parenting. You could be a father, you're not doing parenting, because parenting is a responsibility, it's an act. It is an assignment given to those who give birth to children, and equally to those whose children are kept under their care. Orphans who are handed also to guardians, they are brought up and they are given proper parenting. So parenting is not just the ability to give birth to a child, but successfully growing up the child academically, morally, and also the ability to associate and then interact with the society successfully.
Yes, but are we aware of what you just described as parenting in the upbringing of our children?
Yes, everybody is aware.
Yes.
Everybody is aware, except a man does not want to accept the responsibility. That somebody abandons the responsibility does not mean that the responsibility does not exist. The fact that also people have failed in their responsibility as parents does not mean that others have not succeeded. The truth is, some persons just believe giving birth to a child is sufficient. Feeding a child is sufficient. Parenting is far beyond just giving a child nourishment. It has to do with psychological, emotional, educational, as well as moral upbringing of a child, which you are consciously putting steps for the child to climb on as a ladder to attain and arrive at a particular destination. It's a conscious responsibility. It's not an assumption. Most people give birth to children, they get up in the morning, they go to work, career men and women, sometimes businessmen and women, they don't do proper parenting. They are just interested in giving birth to children, dump the children there. Sometimes they hand children in the hands of housemaids, or sometimes they hand their children in the hands of teachers in school. That is to say, if a teacher is the one growing up your child, you are not a parent. You could be a mother, you could be a father. If it is an house help growing up your child, you are not a parent. We are going to be giving stories and upon stories of individuals who pursued their career and lost their parenting responsibility, and the effects were outrageous.
Okay, the doctor, how much of parenting is being done by mothers and fathers today towards their kids?
It's a little bit, the world today has turned, it's a little bit complicated.
Okay.
It's a little bit not as it used to be. I think Apostle Alfred has done a very good definition of parenting, and I mean Apostle Ambe, sorry, Apostle Ambe has done a very good job in defining parenting. I would just like to add that to my own little contribution, that parenting has a lot to do with training and raising. Unfortunately, we always see some people see parenting just as having the child as well as feeding the child, and maybe maximum it goes to clothing. I think in our time today, following that definition that has been put out, I think there's less parenting, especially now that majority, in fact, we have described a world where it looks like a woman who focuses on raising a kid is not woman enough. In fact, that's the narrative we are putting now. And since also both men and women are busy, I think parenting has really been less parenting is done nowadays. You would discover, like Apostle Abe mentioned, a lot of children are being raised by nannies, uncles and aunts. Well, it's really uncles and aunts nowadays. I think it's more nannies. People and so that we go to the villages, we go to different places to pick some of these people that don't have our mindsets, don't have our values, don't have our religious inclinations, and we don't even know the things we are passing on to our children. Because I don't think if in 24 hours you see your child, some people you see your child in 1 hour or 2, and there is no effective interaction, it will be difficult to be able to really transmit intentional, because parenting is an intentional act. Parenting has a lot to do with intentionality. Yes, as we are going to see as we proceed in this topic, if parenting has a lot of intentionality, then you will see that it cannot just be done casually, or something that you hope will happen because somebody is there with your kid during the day. So I think a lot has changed due to the change in the social cultural climate also globally. So it has really affected parenting in that light. So following that definition, I would say that parenting has really, or we can say it has had a decline.
Yes, are we surprised with the decline in the morals of most children today? Are they going wayward because of the lack of proper parenting by either the mother or the father today?
Yes, Mr. Leo, I want to agree with the fact that if children are not growing in a balance or in a way that we appreciate morally, it's definitely because of poor parenting. As a matter of fact, I used to sometimes look at the way animals watch over their own. I begin to ask questions if men actually have been reduced to a place of being lesser than animals. I'm sorry for using this statement, I'm a parent also. Because if you watch dogs that give birth to puppies, the kind of attention, I've watched National Geography and I see the way animals behave in the forest, especially the kangaroo. Kangaroo will give birth to a child, they follow up the child, they mold the child. Sometimes they are changing location, they will carry the child in a sack. Yeah, they carry the child everywhere and then observe. Even a lion, you see a tiger, you see a leopard, you see a cheetah. Those lions and leopards and cheetahs and tigers don't start eating meat like that. They saw their mothers go after other animals, hunt them down, kill them, brought food back home. That's parenting. It's a pattern. That's why I say discipleship is very, very important. In order for parenting, discipleship. And the discipleship is not discipline. People are misinterpreting the word discipleship. Discipleship is not discipline. Discipline is when you are giving people punishment for a crime you can commit. Discipleship is when you create a path that everyone can follow. So proper parenting is more of the way you live than the cane you strike a child. That is why you discipline yourself, not discipline people. True definition of discipline is when somebody disciplines himself and others follow him. Not that you are committing a crime and beating a child. You can't be smoking and beating a child for smoking. No, you have discipled that person into smoking. So real discipline is not actually blaming people for the errors they do. It's creating a system of life they can easily follow you. So another of parenting is discipline, discipleship. And now, who are you disciplining? You are not disciplining the child that made a mistake. You discipline your sister, the child can copy from you. So I realized that the cheetah does not struggle to train a little cheetah to go after animals. Lions don't struggle to train cubs to go after animals. Dogs don't struggle to train their little ones, to puppies, to go after other things. But you see, humans find it difficult to produce men after their kind. That's the problem. And now, I used to have a dispensational challenge. We have parents who didn't go to school. They didn't have big shops. They didn't work in sophisticated offices. Our fathers worked in farms, tapped palm wine, milled oil, and produced ministers, governors, accountants, journalists, name it, the juicy names in the society. But unfortunately, these accountants cannot produce another accountant. This minister cannot produce another minister. This governor cannot produce another governor. But the person that brought that governor did not even go to school. So what is the problem? What is happening with this dispensation? Because if you look at most of these prominent men, their fathers were either city tappers, men who harvested palms in the palm plantations, those who work farms in those sokokoyams and cassava, those who tap palm wines in the villages and sold to send the children to school. These parents were able to cautiously, deliberately, on a hard line, bring up disciplined children. And these children, some of them went to school, came out, government schools, mission schools, private schools, came out today, they are prominent men in the society. But go back to that same home of that so-called minister or governor or whoever it may be, you will discover that with all the finances and the sophisticated life they are living, they cannot produce men after their kind. As a matter of fact, the most irresponsible people have been produced by the ones who were raised up in a better way. So what is the problem?
That's the problem I want you to answer after this. Let us take the first intervention from Mr. Sanji Yvette from Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital.
Hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to our televiewers. Mr. Leo, in those days when we talk about parenting or children going wayward, you see that majority of the blames will go on the parents. But today, you cannot say the same thing. The children today, the children nowadays are increasingly getting wayward. Now, when we look at everything that is happening, I counsel a good number of children or teenagers, and you will see that there is a lot that is happening in the society today that was not happening back then in those days. In those days, many of us, we do not have access to social media. Many of us, we do not have access to dating sites, because you will hear of dating sites, even sex groups. You buy a cell phone today to give to a child, for the child to use it maybe to do research or so. What the child takes the cell phone and does with it, it's beyond your imagination. So in those days, yes, when a child is going wayward, it could be 100% placed on the parents. But I want to tell you that today, I don't even know if I should say it is kind of 50-50. Because the parents have their role that they're playing. Of course, they will always have their role. But the children have a greater role because they are being exposed to a lot of things. Now, say parents. Parents normally have to do what they're supposed to do to take care of their children, to parent their children, educate them, or even on sex education, discipline them. You cannot have a child and maybe he's coming home, he or she's coming home at 9, 10, and it's okay with that. No. So parents have their role that they're playing. And these children equally have their own role to play. But now, I've had cases where the parents, they play their role, even try to bring up the child in a Christian way, yet the child still goes out of good conduct. Let me talk about the pastor's child. Now, the pastor could, swear that my daughter does nothing. Why? Because she was always indoors. But guess what she was always doing indoors? She was masturbating. Parents never knew. Those are some of the things that we hear during counseling. I mean, Pastor will tell that, no, my daughter is a very calm, very, very reserved. But the truth is, they are always in their room. Why? Because they are masturbating. I mean, this is just one of the cases. So while the parents are doing their almost best for the child to grow up, in the fear of God, you're taking them to church, you are teaching them the Bible, the child herself or himself has a lot of role to play based on this society that we are in now, based on this 21st century. If it's in those days where children had no, they were not exposed to anything social media, they were not exposed to maybe websites or places where they could have, they could see certain things that you don't even want them to see. We could blame the parents for not parenting the children well. But the truth today is that some parents are doing their best. But the children have decided to go wayward due to a good number of things. Some of them have chosen to go wayward maybe due to peer pressure. They go to school, everybody's telling you, hey, I have a boyfriend. Having a boyfriend is a pride. In fact, they even laugh and mock at you as a virgin. You are a virgin, they laugh and mock at you. It's like you've committed a crime that nobody has ever committed. I mean, virginity, that is something that we should cherish, we should praise, we should uphold. But they will join today to laugh at you and mock at you. You are a virgin. And so all of this put together does what? It pushes the children, the girl children in particular, to try to meet up. You have never had sex with a man? Oh, you are not the girl. You are not this. So that's how they push some of these ladies or some of these young teenage girls, and they get into sexual activities, and before you know it, pregnancy comes up. They themselves that are pushing those ladies into that, they might not even be doing it as much as they are saying it, but just that way that they take to convince the other person to go into it, it's something that pushes them into that. I'll come back for my next contribution.
Mr. Sanji Yvette, now he started developing, I want him to come back to what he started developing, that in the past we had parents who were wine tappers, who were farmers, and a host of other professions who were able to groom up children and made them become governors, journalists, pastors, and the like. Why is it difficult for us to do this? Is it the fact that we are too busy because our lives have become sophisticated? Our parents grew us up to become what we are today. Yes. They took the time, the pains to make us become what we are today. Yeah. We are engulfed in chasing other things, and then we birth children and allow them to grow.
Yeah, it's a very broad. I will try to just list about 3 possible reasons why some of these are. One, the sophistication of life, as you said, as you first. Now it has they kind of concentration and attention both parents gave to the children have reduced. Now, and I don't want to say both parents, even because even in those villages, even when the mothers and the fathers were busy, you would discover there was a certain attention that was given to the child, which has reduced due to the sophistication of now. Secondly, there is now too many voices. I'm sure that's what Malasaji is trying to bring about the social media. You would see, Mr. when your father told you something back then, it took you a very long time. In fact, you could hold on. There are still things your father told you that you are still holding on to now. I'm sure even Apostle Ambe might still have things that the father mentioned, said to you, that he has not left you, and you are still holding them on. In fact, even sometimes, even when they even say something that was not true, you might find that it takes you so much effort to denounce it and change, because your father was a voice, or your parents was a voice over your life. But now with the coming of social media, I've said that anything that the world wants you to, or the way the world wants you to know, you don't need to leave the house nowadays for it to meet you. It will meet you right in that room via social media, right in your parlor, right in your bedroom. And that's why, for example, like my Saji is saying, you will say that, oh, my child does not leave the house. Yet, if you know some of the things that your child does, that's why you want to see sex tape comes out, and you see your child doing some kind of, you're asking, now who's speaking this? Speaking when they come out. You hear about those sex group, you hear about those masturbation, you hear about pornography. I've had a lot of, as a counselor, you cannot imagine the number of girls. No, when I began to counsel and pastor, I was shocked the number of ladies. I thought pornography was a male thing. When I was growing up, I thought it was something. You were shocked the number of females, young girls who are addicted to pornography and all of that. Also, there is another thing. A lot of things have changed in our system, and I will use the scripture. It says, I was talking the other day, it says, in over 4 passages in the Bible says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You see, we have broken things down in such a way that fear, a child does not obey you or learn from you because he loves you. A child obeys because he fears you. A child loves you later. So the beginning of wisdom must be fear. But if you look at it, Mr. Lo, you will discover that fear for parents has been lost. In fact, fear for teachers. Anybody who trains you, nobody can train you if they cannot discipline you. Nobody can train you if they cannot instruct you. The Bible always talk about, my son, listen to my instruction. Pay attention. In fact, throughout Proverbs, you will hear about the word instruction, discipline, instruction. Now, look at it today. They have even warned people, if you shout at a child, you risk losing your job. If you just shout. A teacher came and told me that he passed and he saw 2 kids kissing from 2 in class. And the children turned and looked at him. And as he looked at him, the student turned, and the boy turned and told the teacher, move your eye. You look like waiting. A from 2 student in class. That's what the teacher saw. And he said he just passed the goal. He remember saying they be stabs on teacher. There's a teacher in the forum telling me, being honest. So I think, remember when we used to sit in the house, we hear that Papa de come. Sometimes you first panic a little bit. Sometimes when they tell, if we're growing up, when they say Papa de come, you think what you have done that day, that might warrant a little flogging before everything comes down. Wisdom does not begin with love or affection. In fact, a child does not learn wisdom until they have a certain degree of fear. And I think that fear has been lost in our time. And wisdom cannot begin until there is fear. Like I said, you don't go and meet your 2-year-old child and say 6 points or 6 reasons why you need to bathe with soap. Number 1, soap has caustic soda. Number 2, you don't explain that. You don't tell your child, oh, this eau de javel, 13 reasons why you should not touch eau de javel. You just want the child, and no one see you touch this thing. And that child will learn that wisdom not to touch it, not because they understand even the properties of eau de javel, but because they fear the one talking to them. I think we have lost this fear. The fear for our teachers, the fear for our parents. In fact, even the community where we used to grow up, we used to call any elderly person uncle, auntie. That sometimes you will do something in the school, your parents will come and give your teacher the right to flog you, or your teacher will still come and report you, and your parent will still do something. I think a lot of the demography that brings wisdom has shifted. And take note, children must be children. I don't think children have never ceased from being children. Children have a way. That's why the Bible said, train up a child in the way he should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. So how then do we train these children when we have made them? In fact, the children challenge. As you say this, they go online and they hear something else and they come and say, no, that's what somebody is saying. I think some of these things have affected parenting.
Good evening. I'm watching from Ghana. God bless you people. Thank you very much, Ahmed, watching there from Ghana. Hello to everyone in the house. I'm so excited you will be reading from me today, Mr. Leo. However, I think why children tend to grow wayward today is as a result of lack of proper communication from parents to their children. Most parents hardly make out time to be with their children and sometimes bully them when they come with complaints. So we parents should work on that aspects. Mireille Claude is writing from Loom. Good evening to you. Okay, I read that one already. Two persons writing from Loom. Okay. Greetings to all the panelists in the house. Mr. Leo, look at these aspects and measure them to what we see today. Children of today don't even know that in our days you could be beaten for any of the following reasons: crying too long after being beaten, not crying after being beaten, crying without being beaten, standing where elders are sitting, sitting while elders are standing, walking around aimlessly where elders are seated, eating food prepared for visitors, refusing to eat, come back home after sunset, eating at the neighbor's house, generally being too moody, generally being too excited, losing a fight with older age mates, winning a fight with your age mate, eating too slowly, eating too quickly, when a car almost knocks you down, when a car knocks you down and you don't die, for not answering when spoken to, for answering back when spoken to, beaten for going to church or mosque late, beaten for borrowing shoe wears from friends. Some of these reasons for beating a child may appear far-fetched today, but they sure did happen, and they were the norms that shaped the adults of today. Kudos to African parents. We, the generation you almost killed with beating, say thank you. And if you were beaten because of any of the above three, please gather here for survival and thanksgiving. Apostle Ambe Valentine Gwa, can we, yes, but you started developing something and said that those things are missing. What are those things that are missing today that would expose our children to living the lives that they live today?
Yes, Mr. Leo, when you go to a classroom, the person that manages affairs is a teacher. Mm-hmm. When you go to a tennis court, the person that oversees the affairs an umpire. Mm-hmm. When you go to a football field, what you see there is a referee that watches over activities. Mm-hmm. When you go to an aviation school, you have the instructors. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between a teacher and an instructor. A teacher is somebody who tells you what you need to know. An instructor is who tells you what you must do. What we had in those days were instructors, not just parents. Yeah. Today we have teachers. And that's why psychologists came out with 4 categories of parenting. Number 1, the authoritarian parent. Number 2, the authoritative parent. Number 3, the permissive parent. Number 4, the uninvolved parent. In those days, you did not do what you wish. You didn't do what you like. You didn't do what you desire. You did what your parents decided.
Yeah.
To the extent that they will even tell you what to read in the university. And they will kill you for not reading it. They will fight you and fight every energy in you. So you realize that a man who didn't have much money, the price he paid to make that money when investing in your education, it was his ultimate right to make sure that money is not invested in the wrong place. In those days, when you fail exam, you don't come home. Today they buy you Awudu. When you fail exam, why going home?
No, they don't tell you again in school that you have failed. They have changed it.
Yes.
They avoid it. They say, don't tell each other that you have
Children used
failed.
to fail exams in those days. So you used to fail exam in those days.
Now they say they don't.
Now they go and correct their report cards.
Yes. And
Today,
so a child that has failed.
you have not failed.
They promote 6
They
average.
strengthen you.
Six
They tell you that no matter what is going to, don't accept failure. Then they will teach you the story of people like Ben Carson, who was a dullard, and every time the parents, the teacher will say, come and take this guy out of school, the mother will say, my son is the most intelligent. My son is the most intelligent. And the mother kept pressing. And that's how Ben Carson said, if my mother says I'm intelligent, then I have to stand up. Today is the best neurosurgeon. That is a case among 20,000 cases. That's why if we don't understand the modus operandi in parenting, we are still going to be producing hoodlums under our roofs. We are going to produce criminals under our roofs.
Yes.
Now, the attention and the focus that parents gave to children in those days, it was serious. To the extent that if a child has a wound, the mother would discover that wound before the child shows that wound.
Yeah.
This time around, a child can be wounded on the leg and the mother does not even take note. Because why? A lot of things have come into play. In those days, men went to work, menial jobs. Women stayed back home to take care of children. This day, the man is a career medical doctor. The wife is a career banker. Then their child is in the hand of a housemaid. The idea of housemaid was not even a subject in the past. Because first and foremost, the family unit did not have enough to eat, talk less of employing somebody to pay them to come and manage or take care of a child. But the house girl philosophy and mentality also has come to play this time around. So most parents think that growing up a child is provision for everything the child needs, and equally to pay the child's school fees. Provision is one of the ways of parenting. Consequences is another part of parenting. Observation is another aspect of parenting. And these other aspects are greatly neglected. The child has food, yes. The child has dress, yes. Was the child's school fees paid? Yes. And people think that's parenting. Parenting also is going to the extent of understanding the kind of content your children consume.
Yeah.
A parent is supposed to be in a house. As a matter of fact, the kind of video programs your children watch or television programs, they are supposed to go on that remote control. Any channel you think will intoxicate your children, bar it. There is a provision on that remote control to bar a channel you do not want on your satellite.
Yes.
So you see, parents don't only allow the children to watch. The children now operate remote control at the age of 5-6 years. We grew up at the age of about 18 to 20. We never touched remote control because one, the television was not there. Number two, you were watching in somebody's house, so you don't know what is remote. But this time around, 4-5-year-old child has remote. The child controls. They even have way of playing games on television. Then talk less of the mobile phone that has come now. Children have access to information and all kinds of toxics. This is still back to poor parenting. And that's the reason why I said in my house, if you are not in the university, you cannot hold a smartphone. You may call me a cake. You may call me primitive. You may call me an idiot. But I can tell the age we are living in, if you do not take the responsibility of a parent, some people are on social media that will give your children the parenting that you refuse to give them.
How a father should
When Adam gave space for his wife, the serpent came and pastored the wife for a few minutes. When Adam came back, he could not recognize the woman that he left a few minutes ago. By the time you leave your children loose and somebody else pastors them or parents them through the social media, when they will hand that child back to you, you will ask yourself question: am I the one that carried this child in my womb for 9 months? Am I sure I'm the one that named this child? Is my blood running through the veins of this child? That's because your responsibility has been taken away. Even on television, they will tell you this program is not good for viewers younger than the age of 16. But you see, parents are sitting in their sitting room, and a TV program that is not permitted for 13 and 16-year-old, their 9-year-old boy is there watching it in the name of freedom. It is called permissive parenting. That is, you want children to do what they want to do. You want them to do what they like to do. You say, I treat them more like friends. That's European knowledge. The African society we grew in, we didn't have teachers as parents, we had instructors. That kind of thing, that if they see your father, they are going to, if you don't clear that lawn that your mother asked you to clear that backyard, they say your father is coming. Your father's name is enough signature to go and clear that place. Don't wash those places if your father comes.
Yes.
This time around, don't wash that place if your father comes. Father, you're coming to do what? But you see, it was so strong to the extent that the absentee father was present.
Yes.
Was present because the wife made his presence felt.
Yeah.
You were asked to watch, but you refused. And don't watch, your father is coming now. The absentee father, but today, even in the presence of the father, authority is not exercised. That is why we have to understand. Psychologists came out with this different system of parenting since in the 60s.
Now, this issue of parenting, in the past you say they were scared. At the mention of the name of the father, the child sits up.
Yes.
Do we have a conflict today where it is the mother who wants to be seen as the angel, and then the father is seen as a bully, wanting to cajole, please the children against the father, or the father also wanting to play nice to the children while the mother is strict? Do we have that conflict?
Yeah, I think we have that conflict I've seen it in different ways.
Okay.
One, in the European or the Western world. In the Western world now, the woman is instead the one the children fears. If you watch all Disney Channel movies, homes of parents and children, watch any Disney Channel movie. In fact, when you watch it, it looks like an indoctrination that the woman is the head of the home. In fact, any show you will see, when they come and ask the father something, the father will say, go ask your mother. In fact, when the mother is coming, the father, it passes the information that the father does not have any role or any decision to make. This is a Western philosophy where the authority has been usurped, and now it's actually in the hands of the woman. Now, coming to our African society, and I think we will trash this more even in the next topic, which we're talking about, especially singlehood and parenting and everything. You will discover that some parents have used their children to settle scores, and in the course of settling scores, the children are spoiled. I know of, when I was growing up, I had one of a mate in school who is always laughing. In fact, they paid his school fees twice. Why? His father and his mother does not talk. He knows it, so he comes and he will go this way. He knows that anything he says this way, they will not agree. He does this thing, comes this way and does this. And those people, he was always, because they were always at loggerheads. And to play that game, every parent is trying to show the child, I am the better one, I am the good one.
Even those living together, there's always a tendency.
Yes, I am the better one, I am the good one. And with that, in fact, I have when I consult or counsel with parenting, especially even for young couples who are going into, I always tell them, I said, no matter, because a child is a child, no matter who earns more, because a child has the tendency to love the one who lavishes gifts more. Sometimes, like you say, a father will get up and go to school when the child is not woken up, give school fees, for example. Now, maybe it's the mother who remains behind and administers that money, even to buy things, administer that money. Then now the child gets affection, but for the mother, and sometimes the mothers don't have that courtesy to point to the direction of where it's coming from. So some children even grow up and believe that their fathers did not contribute to their life. There are many people that believe that their father did not contribute to their life, and it could also be vice versa. You say a father also can take a child and you keep poisoning. That mommy is a very bad woman, and all of that. And in that conflict, it raises a child, because when they are doing that, a father, for example, the Bible says no one being disciplined likes it at the moment. It means that anyone who is a little bit hard, the child does not appreciate you. That's why they call a child a child. But take note. Oh, okay, look at that man who is writing now. If you discover, all of us are glad for all of those times our parents were hard on us. Yes. Look at how
there are some children who have written already.
Yes.
That they have lost it because of the division between the
their
parents.
Father. Yes, we're going to look at that. So look at how we are. Look at how we turn out. Some of us today can wake up early because of the time our parents were waking us up. I, for one, my mom will wake me up, will wake us up in the family every 5:30 a.m. for morning devotion. All throughout, as far as I can remember, by 5:30 we are up for morning devotion. You can imagine that. Now it framed us, and you will discover where you go ahead. Because when a child is permissive, look at how parenting has crumbled in the Western world because of this permissive parenting. And you go to a child's room, the child sends you out, insults you, get out of my room. A child is using obscene language on their parents. Your father even talks to you and you look back. In fact, even the way you look could get you into trouble. So you will discover we are having a lot of issues because of this kind of parenting where you are trying to look good. And take note, to a child, to look good, you must act good by showering them with gifts. That's how a child believes that is love. Gifts that is even irrelevant. For example, you are giving them bonbon. That the person who is paying fees, that is not sin, might not be appreciated, but they will appreciate the bonbon. That's a child. Now you will lavish gifts. Secondly, you will show that you are so more concerned about the child than the other parent by allowing them do what they want. I know of parents as a pastor, because I know you will not believe their parents who give their children money to go to the nightclub, but want them not to come to church. That means the mother calls say, no, you are my daughter. You know, go and look at the internet today. Our young girls are twerking with their daughters on TikTok. I'm talking on TikTok. Where are they going to? Look at the crop tops we're already buying for our little children. I saw one of my neighbors, I saw on the video where they are drinking whiskey and even giving a little bit to about a 7 or an 8-year-old child. So where is that parenting headed? So I think all of these things put into perspective, that clash in the need to look like the better parent for the child. We have now raised what? Children who are loose. Yes. Children who are cry babies. Because what does that mean? Yeah, you give them. And think of these are children. You cannot blame them, because every child will be a child. It's how you raise the child that matters. A child is a child. The outcome comes number one, the training or what they have absorbed from the environment. Because no child is born with pre-knowledge. A child is born and then they absorb the knowledge and the things from their environment. So you will see they begin to adopt all of these things. We begin to look loose. A child, a mother will not want to beat, because the one that the father should be the bad one. So he say, hey, go talk for you know. Father is telling the mother, go talk for you know. And I think this has caused, they are not a one, like how Apostle Abe was saying, that if, for example, all of Africa goes together to a summit as one voice, I think we'll be more respected. I think it's also one of the things that we have to do with parenting. Course, yes. We have one voice. I was talking in one seminar, I said, there is a time that even if a child wants something very great, I would describe this child loves this thing so much, and is asking for the mother, but it's the father that can provide. Sometimes the father needs to buy it and give the mother to come and give. Sometimes you know, sometimes there has to be a balance. There is a time that one person should not be the good cop and another one be the bad cop. There should be a time that you take up the good cop and another person is the bad cop, and put it in quotes, and another time the person takes up the bad cop, so that there's a balance. Because a child will grow up and have affection. There's a reason why many children grow up and they are more affectionate towards their mothers, even though in some homes is the mother that is also the hard one. But I think every home will need this balance to be able to raise balanced children. And take note, this fear we are talking about has been that healthy fear that taught us wisdom. Because a child does not understand. Here's somebody talking about communicating. Listen, a child does not understand communication the way you think. A child is a child. There are things, yes, I'm not talking about these parents. Yeah, I know sometimes our parents went overboard with how they were very frightful. But you will see that it costs more good than this laissez-faire parenting. So we are talking about that good balance, because a child does not just hear what you are saying.
Let's get another intervention from Mr. Sanji. Yvette out there in Bamenda.
Now, talking about getting children cell phones today to accelerate or to facilitate their learning process. Since you can always Google search the meaning of this, or there's something that you don't understand in any subject, you can always search it on Google. Now, when you give these children these cell phones so that it can advance their learning, they take those cell phones, they get into different. Majority of her followers are not married. I mean, you can say 80% of her followers are not married. But all she does is talk about sex morning, sex afternoon, sex evening. And then because she's giving out money, you know, sharing money, everybody's clapping. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people want free things. People don't think how the knowledge, or what they are reading, what they are seeing on those pages are affecting them. Socially, morally. They're not even thinking about all of those consequences. As long as they will get 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 as giveaway, 20,000 as giveaway, they clap even for wrong things. Now, this is just part of it. Let me not talk like I'm just biased with the children on themselves. Parents equally on the other hand, you know, they struggle to meet up with needs. I can say that the economy is very difficult now. Things are very expensive. So you see that both the father and the mother, they struggle to work. Now, when the father and the mother get up in the morning, everybody is going to work, you're going to your office. You know, sometimes we leave these children in the hands of housemates or house helps. And what happens behind our backs, we don't even know. Now, this is for children who are maybe less than 5. But when we concentrate on a lot of things, we leave our children, we cannot know what happens to them. Even sometimes, let's not go as far as house helps. I had a case here, a very beautiful lady. If you see her, oh, she's beautiful. You can never tell that she's battling with something. But she was battling with consistent rape. She has been raped over and over. I mean, from the age of 2. But her mother never knew about it. Now, it's during counseling that I had to unveil her. We discovered that she had a lot of grudges against the mother. When I opened this to her, she said, yes, she has a lot of grudges against the mother because the mother was not smart to take note that something was not right with her. I mean, the mother leaves her with neighbors, or the neighbors' children, goes to wherever she's going, comes back. She does not even try to follow up what has been happening. How are you today? What were you doing? What has happened? Is there something you want to tell me? The mother never followed up on any of these things. The same neighbors that she was constantly keeping those children to are the same people that were raping this child. Even after that, after they transferred to another quarter, the mother kept keeping her, and it kept happening. I mean, it went to the level where even with siblings, cousins still took advantage of her. So her whole life has been rape cases until she grew hatred for what? For men. And she equally grew hatred for marriage. I mean, I was counseling her at the verge. I was counseling her when she was at the verge of terminating her wedding that was coming up. Thank God for the counseling. She's now happily married. So I want to say that sometimes we are too busy too as parents. We get too preoccupied, struggling to see how we can get ends meet, and then we neglect our responsibilities as parents. Mr. Leo, I'll come back for my last contribution.
Thank you very much. Can we also say that civilization, to some extent, I don't know whether we call it civilization, human rights, the right of the child, and all of this is also working against what we knew as the African way of bringing up the children?
That child right is not in Africa. It's not, Mr. Liu. You know, there's a fun, or there's a comedy that a child told the parents in America that if you touch me, I'm going to call the police. and the father did not touch the child. They were Nigerians. When they carried the child and brought the child to Nigeria, the father slapped the child. And the child said, if you touch me again, I'm going to call the police. The father said, that's the police. The child went and called the policeman and said, look at my father is abusing me and insulting me and slapping me. The policeman gave the child one slap. Say, "How he talk, you respond." Mr. Leo, that culture is not in Africa here.
But it has been increasing.
It's not in Africa here. Because I don't see people being taken to police station because they struck a child or instructed a child. That thing is done in Europe and America, not here. But one thing I want to emphasize is this. I was coming from Mutengene one day. I looked at the police signboard. It is Centre d'instruction et d'application de police. If you look, the most loyal citizens in this country, they are from the force.
Yes, that's how it is. Military, that's how it is.
The most loyal citizens in the country
Military.
are from the force,
Yes.
the military force.
Yes.
Look at what happens in the embattled Northwest and Southwest. Military men, gendarmes, police officers, and armed forces see how their friends die, yet at the command of their boss,
Yes.
they still go.
The
That
same
means
place.
death is looking at them in the face.
Yes. Yes.
Because why? That's how they train them.
Yes.
And because they train them, you realize that that training has helped to better the situation because the situation is going down. Holes, forests, caves that ordinary men could not go. Once the commander say, go Montelaba, they are going. That loyalty has helped to push people to fight even when they are supposed to die.
Yeah.
Are we saying that parents should be like military men that bring their children under control? No. Parents should communicate with their children. But the children should know enough that when a father or a mother says no, it should be no. You can only convince a father and a mother to accept what you think. Not that you are taking in the name of human right. You want to subdue your parents and override their will. I studied my Bible. Even in the Bible, God has not been fair with us. A child shall be born, his name shall be John. God the name you are picking. Wait, they inside belly. That means God does not ask your opinion. He doesn't ask your choice. This boy name shall be called Samson. There's a child in your womb, his name shall be called John. There's a child in your womb, his name shall be called Jesus. And this is his assignment. In other words, you don't have any assignment. It's what I tell you that you do. That's the nature of God. Imagine God told Jesus, you are going on the earth. Try your best and choose what you have to do. The last thing Jesus will choose is to die on the cross.
Die on the cross. In the grace.
Humanity is saved because God is an instructor. Jesus could find a way in the society because John came from God and he was also instructed. Moses ran away from Egypt. They sent him back there under instruction. So you realize that if you look at our society today, the carefree nature of activities is a reason why we have a lot of confused children. The fourth category of parenting is called the uninvolved parent. These are parents that can be present yet they are absent. I told somebody that the worst thing that can happen to you is when you are around and people think you are absent because your impact is not felt. And there are parents just like that. They are around, but their absence registers. Why? Because their absence is equal to their presence. The child does not look at them as a path they can follow. When a parent is that irresponsible, for instance, you are smoking, you are drinking, you are beating their mother in their presence, you are unable to provide food in the house, my man, you can't parent. Because parenting has to do with you first as an individual. Your responsibility as a man can influence your words and also give your words authority. There are children who don't respect their parents and they don't want to hear anything, even if it is right, because of the parents' attitude. In a home where it's a woman that pays the rent, a woman that feeds the house, a woman that takes care, and then you as a man, you are gallivanting here and there with other ladies. You sleep and outside, you eat and drink outside, you don't provide food in the house. When you come and say, sit down, the child will ask if at all. Because authority goes along with responsibility. That's one thing we don't understand. Authority goes along with it. People can easily obey the person that feeds them than the person that gave birth to them. And that is the reason why we see the parenting stuff has a problem. Our fathers did not have much money, but a little they had, they were able to invest it in their children. Somebody is cutting palms in CDC. His salary is 40-something thousand, and he's playing in Jangi because he knows that the child will go to school when school resumes. Such a father, the level of sacrifice he puts in place. If he says, my son, you want to kill me, he hits you very hard. But when a man is irresponsible, even his words have no value. So we are talking about this authority stuff. It has to do with responsibilities also. There are many irresponsible parents. The other kind of uninvolved parents is those who have pursued their careers more than their families. You get up in the morning, you're a medical doctor, it's in the night you are returning. Your wife is a banker, she's come back in the evening. She's come back when the children are asleep and getting up and going when the children are still sleeping. As a matter of fact, somebody said some parents are like the Monte workers. They go to work when the fog lamp of a car is on 4 a.m. and they come back at 10 p.m. and when the fog lamp is still on. They don't know if cars don't have, they don't know if cars switch off their fog lamp, because every time they are getting up, the fog lamp is on. This is exactly what I'm talking about, the uninvolved parents. And that is why most children who are born from such homes, they don't amount to anything when it comes to being brought up morally, being brought up psychologically, being trained up in a place that can be responsible in the society. Irresponsibility. Another aspect is parents who impregnate women and run away. Most children in the hands of single mother grow responsibly by the grace of God, because there is this maternal affection for children that sometimes does not warrant them to really exercise true authority. There are a few mothers who are very hard,
but it's rare.
But it's rare, because in every rule there's an exception. Most mothers have that affection that sometimes they will prefer to stay with the criminal than to let him run away from the house.
Yes.
So they will do everything to keep you around rather than allow you go. But a father will tell you that leave my house.
Yes.
It's not sentimental, because women are emotional, men are logical. If a man cannot bring out the best in you, he will throw you away. But a woman will choose to keep you with the mess in you because she does not want to lose you.
So she can nurture it.
So that's it. Yes. They can accommodate any kind of rubbish. That's why you see a lot of children grow in a wayward manner because of these three categories of uninvolved parents. The ones who are present and their words have no meaning, have no value because of their responsibility. The ones whom careers in their lives absorb everything and consume most everything they do. And the ones who impregnate children, leave them in the hands of single mothers, and then the mothers are struggling because of their emotional imbalance. They cannot be able to groom and bring up a child the way the child has to grow. That is why God says, train up a child. He didn't say feed a child. He said train. That word training is a military term.
Yes. Yes.
Train up a child the way you should go.
Okay.
So it's a training process. There's a difference when somebody is being taught and when somebody is being trained.
Yeah. It's a training process. We hope that the message has gone through, and that there is need for us all to show love, but also to monitor very strictly what our children are doing from morning till night, because we also need to prepare them to maturity. Especially, severally, you have said that people don't take time to prepare children for marriage.
Yes.
In the past, our mothers would make sure that their children know how to cook, do this, so that they don't disgrace them when they get married. That is no longer the case. Do we really have parents who take time to prepare their children for either married or some other things for life? Yeah.
Yes, I think that's just. I think it's this is what we have been struggling to say, that we are missing that training process nowadays. That it
is normal, and at times some people say it with pride that but no know how for cookie, be interested. Then in the past, people, the parents.
It's an insult.
Yeah.
To a parent.
To a parent.
To them, the child is going to disgrace them.
Of course, it's an insult.
Exactly. You see, Mr. Lu, the thing is, our generation is, when you hear that we have people who are 22 years, 30 years, having high blood. Mr. Lu, ask yourself, these are diseases we used to hear. No, it is a disease. When I was growing up, high blood was something for 70, 80. High blood pressure, hypertension, all of this, depression. Now when you hear you're a child of 30, 25 being depressed, I ask myself, what is the reason? It's because of this thin skin. We no longer have a thick skin. Is this, I call it the misconception of love. This misconception of love, where people think love is allowing the child do anything. In fact, even the Bible says, if I don't discipline a child, you are illegitimate. Mr. Leo, have you ever visited an uncle who has many children, or people, some of your cousins came and visited your house? Do you notice that your parents can flog you and not flog your cousin for the same crime?
Of course.
In fact, even your cousin can even cause crime. Your father flogged by you and ask you, so you be the same, you know, what you do. Yes. Now the reason is they will prefer to touch their own and allow another one, because they are even afraid to touch another person's child. Yeah. Even the Bible in Hebrews says, if I don't discipline you, you are illegitimate. And say, but no child being disciplined enjoys it now, but it will produce something good in the future. And that is the problem. As all of us are parents, that's a good thing. The truth there is that none of us love to see our child cry. It's painful. The other day I was sitting in the house and I saw my wife was touching my daughter. She had gone and picked up one funny dance somewhere. So when she did it, my wife called and said, come. She already knows. Now they entered the room. I was just lying on the bed, and she's kind of looking at me, you know, and it's very easy.
Yes, you say, Madam,
yes, I looked at it and it's painful. Yet you understand what it is forming in that child. I used to put and say, no, children now should be explained. How can you explain to a child? A child does not gain wisdom through explanation. The Bible itself says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That means even if we take Jesus as our friend, somebody told me that Jesus called his disciples friends. I said no. Yes, but the disciples did not call him friends, and he only called a friend after he says, I've told you everything that my father told me, and you have done them. Yes. And you will continue to be my friends if you continue to do what I'm supposed to be. A lot, like you said, my child is my friend. Have you discovered that friendship is a thing that has destroyed? Now look at it. Yes. Now children cannot cook, which was a disgraceful thing before. Children cannot even make their bed. That I remember when we used to wake up, the first thing my mom would come and do is to check the room, how you have left your bed, how you have. My mom would go to the house, share work in the night. You already know what you are doing in the morning, and all of that. It was truly a training. Okay, so I was watching one video. There's a difference between training and teaching. When they want to teach somebody football, they don't go and write 6 steps to kick a ball. That is training is done by doing. How can we train our dogs, Mr. Leo, and not train our children? We train dogs, yet we don't train our children. You say a white man would sit, dog will sit. We train them. Yes. But yet we allow children do what they want, and we say it's human right, it's love. I think this is a misconception of love that has made that so we are saying that there's a lack of training. That is that word, training. Yes. And now it has to do with not only cooking, because of now the argument was, why are they only teaching only women how to cook? No, that's not even the argument. We are talking about the basic home training, because the basic unit of a society is a family. Before the child will go to school, what is happening at the level of the family? Do you remember that the way you even answered an elder was determined by how they brought you up at home? So even our respect for teachers back then was because our parents had taught us to respect elders first. Elders, it means you don't respect elder because the man is drunk or not drunk, because the person is an elder. I think they did a lot of training, and now people don't care. We have become too superficial. If we can be depressed by anything life throws at us, we have not been prepared for life, because our parents no longer take upon themselves. I remember one time my dad would keep telling me, my dad used to tell me, you dare you so you don't know, so you don't give you power. If I go, you don't finish. Like, he will keep telling me, better prepare yourself, better build your intelligence, better. During the holidays, my father who has money would tell me, go and look for something. Look at how the Bamileke change their children. Every holiday,
they tell you you must raise part of your school fees. I told somebody, I said, don't get up and go, want to do like Bamileke and say, we'll gather money. Bamileke gather yellow people. Bamileke gather 15 million. Trust them. Give some person. No, they can trust somebody with 15 million because that person has been doing business from childhood. Not because they just grew up and gather Jangi and give the money. That person has proven their business prowess from small. Go and see them sending up. We see it every day in the West, in the different towns. I think they train their children, and so far you will see that these are the greatest people who have passed down their values.
Yeah, but one of the concerns raised by most televiewers is the fact that it is the media that is also helping to destroy the morals of these children. But are we not also responsible, because even the media, you say you are gatekeeping when it comes to Android phones?
Yes.
But don't we also think as parents that we can control what our children are exposed to, either on the media or through the social media?
I said it here, we have to control the content of what our children consume. As a matter of fact, an instruction in my house that when we are not there, what they should be playing is cartoons. If we are going to watch any movie in the house, my wife will be holding a remote in the hand to watch. Any immoral display, they change the channel immediately. Even if the children may have a glance of it, that impression that we do not want them to see it already communicates to them that they are not good for this thing. Besides, we educate the children at the background, the female, the male, to know the sensitive parts of their body. The children don't know public part and private part, because today the subject of public part and private part is no longer what we used to know. When girls use their breast in public on TikTok, that public part, that private part that we used to know by name, has become public part. So a child that grows and sees a lady exposing her breast on social media does not see anymore breast as private part. Women open their vaginas in public, and people watch it, they say this is no longer a private part. So a child must be educated this time around what is private part and what is public part. In those days, when you grow, automatically you know what's private and you know what's public. This time around, even the private has become public.
Yeah.
So now people are confused and they don't even know. And people get attracted with a lot of immoral things than real content.
Yes.
People like seeing what is bad, not seeing what is good. And the internet has such loaded information. I mean, loaded information to give you. And this is the reason why we say you must control the content of what your children consume. As a father, as a mother, you must be a close and a keen observer. Observation is an aspect of parenting. That is the truth. The Bible says that when Mary saw what Jesus, the Bible says she observed him closely and kept those things in her heart. Which means she was actually looking at the boy, knowing fully well that the prophecy concerning the guy is just for female. I have said it, that one of the most authoritarian and authoritative leaders on earth is God. Because when God gives instruction, he does not ask your opinion. He doesn't. And this is the reason why people don't seem to get why the people that God sent on earth were so impactful. God will call somebody's name, tell the mother the name that the child will bear, describe the child's assignment before the child is even born. But today, we parents want to ask a child what you think you can do, you do. What you like to do, you do. That's not the case.
What you don't want to do, you don't do.
You don't do. What you want to do, you do. That carefree, that laxity, that free exposure is what causes children to take drastic, because most of them are not even mature enough to decide on what is right.
That's a child.
Most of them decide on what they see is trending. What is trending might not be what is useful. They can also pursue what they see their friends pursuing. What your friend is pursuing does not mean what you are called to do. And that is because also social media has given the impression that sometimes degrees don't pay anymore, because it has now resulted to a place where everybody wants to have a content on social media. And social media has become the employment center for most persons across the globe. So persons are no longer building skill, character, and integrity anymore. Now they are looking for opportunity to look for a carefree way of manifesting through social media and making income. So that's the reason we have to watch the kind of content our children consume. It starts back at home. There are supposed to be guiding principles. If you come to my house, there are things I've written to my children. I say, principles that governs the Ngwas dynasty. I'm building a dynasty, and that dynasty begins with people. And the legacy I'm going to leave on people is what I put on this word. These are principles guiding. As when you grab it in the morning, go and stand and read it. When the child looks at one and think over and over, psychology say if a message if you want a message to stick in someone's mind, say it at least 6 times. The mind has the capacity to capture a message, absorb it, and digest it when it has been spoken at least 6 times. So when you put it on the wall, the children go there every morning, they look at it. It becomes a part of their very being. It is registered in their subconsciousness. Even sometimes they want to go astray, that information guides them because you are a product of what you have consumed so far.
Okay, we are moving straight to a second topic for tonight, which has to do with a phenomenon which is called single mothers, single parenting. The love doctor. Is it a fact or a myth that many more ladies are now having children and boasting of being single mothers?
This is a topic so dear to me because part of our work at the foundation, Wisdom Foundation, has been to work with teenage pregnancies, especially you know what is happening in the Munya community, my 16. It's terrible. In the community where we work in the Wisdom Foundation, it's rare to see a girl above 17 that's not has a child. In fact, by 18 you have at least two kids in the Munya community. You can begin to imagine that. Now that's just somebody who say, oh, that one a village. I said no, it has seeped in, and we are seeing that a trend right now. People bragging to be single mothers. And we have to really say this thing the way it is. Now, this is not to downplay or to insult or to belittle any single mother or make them think that they are less of persons. No, please don't get it wrong. But you see, the more we keep flaunting single motherhood as a pattern, the more people will do it. If these single mothers were saying the truth and advising other girls, you see, when we try to boost them now, you know, we talk about personal development and how do we put it? We are talking about the boosting your, so that you don't look down on your self-esteem. You know, it's about now people come now. Oh, I am a proud. Look, we are not saying you should not be proud of your child, but we are saying that there is a philosophy, there is a message that you are passing across. Single motherhood is not an ideal situation. In fact, I would dare say that one of the reasons of waywardness of the society has to do with single parenting. In fact, in the States, these are statistics you can check out. In the States, it is known that most wayward children, this is, you know, these two topics are linked, are children who were not raised by parents. Let's first start from there. You know, we started from this parenting. Most children of the system, children who were not raised by a particular parent that trained them, are the ones who are often going to prison. In fact, it is known that it is difficult for a child to be raised without parents and not go to prison. More than 90% of them have been to, go to prison or end up in prison. This is a statistic that has been studied in the States. Also, one of the greatest wayward and unbalanced children in the society are especially from the children raised by single mothers. In fact, I would dare say in the Western world there are more single fathers than single mothers. It's in Africa that we have more single mothers. Yes, in fact, in the Western world, most women are the ones who walk away and leave the children with the men. But it is known that children raised by single fathers are far better than children raised by single mothers, for the same reason which some of the reasons which Apostle Ambe mentioned here, which involves what? A mother, most mothers are more of managers than leaders. They are more of they are the ones who nurture. They are not they are emotional, sentimental than being logical. Like you will see back then, even though our fathers were known to go out and hustle, and it looks like they were not as present as our mothers, yet their name was a presence.
your father's name was a presence. In fact, you can stay the whole day and they promise you that when your dad comes, that means your whole day can be spoiled by a promise of an encounter with your dad in the evening. You see, their presence was in their name. And I think when in fact I told somebody, I said this confidently, give me 100 children raised by single moms. If I talk with them in 10 minutes, I will tell you to more than 90% accuracy that this child was raised by a single mom. Their philosophy in life, the way they approach life, the way they belittle men, the way they, there's a certain philosophy, because women, since they are the ones who are nurturers, they bring these children close. You will see a mother who is raising a child and is talking to that child, thinking the child is not hearing. This your pa, they are always since women need to explain their problems. For men can have their problem and hold it and go and do something with it, but women are always talking. You see that most women have been telling their children things even before the child can understand, but these things are embedded in the child's subconscious. That affects. Have you ever noticed that most children raised by single mothers end up being single mothers? Many. It's a trend. We have seen that happen over and over. So it is something that it has become a norm. People flaunt it. And then when they come now, since you can do matching pajamas, matching dresses, we go online now, we snap with, our children nowadays are cuter. Whether we like it or not, we take it. Oh, look at my baby, they are cute. We take them to TikTok, we take them here and there, and then it becomes a trend, and people think that is a thing to do. I think it has become a rising thing because we are not saying it the way it is. So, and sometimes they even come and onto their emotionally blackmailing people. Oh, if you want me, you need to have my child, you need to do this, to do that, and they don't understand that as a single mother, you are already disadvantaged. Until we get to that point. Back then, when you hear that a girl, in fact, they could destroy your destiny by a boy lying that he has slept with you. A boy could just lie that he has slept with you and destroys your future. Let not talk of somebody who has given birth to a child. Are we saying that people cannot make mistakes? No, that's not it. But we are saying that let's call a mistake and not say that this is something to be celebrated.
Apostle Ambe, growing single mother who is becoming some pride there. Yes.
Until a word has been created for it, baby mama.
Okay, yes, baby mama.
Oh, Mr. Liu. As a matter of fact, there are words being created this time around in English and even in Pidgin that did not exist in the past. The single motherhood has become a reality until a word has been created for it. Sing baby mama.
Mommy picking.
Yeah, somebody get baby mama. Mommy picking out. Some married women will come and picking. I mean, that baby mama of a thing is an exact description of a woman that has a child out of wedlock. Baby mama. When you hear baby mama, it shows that the woman is having a child out of wedlock. And then some men have like 2 or 3 baby mamas that they just plant children here. And then you will hear a girl will boldly say, I can't sit under the authority of a man. When I need a child, a man can just plant the seed in my stomach and I go. I won't even let him take care of the responsibility of the child because I don't want you to come and claim the child tomorrow. Number 2, you cannot claim the child because they are not legally married. You didn't pay bride price on their head or you didn't dowry them. So if you look at it, you didn't legalize anything in the court, you did not pay any bride price, and equally you are not going to be responsible for the child being born. Definitely the woman has control over the child. Because why? They don't want to sit under the authority of a man. They don't want to be controlled by a man. They don't want to be instructed by a man. They don't want to be guided by a man. So by so doing, they look for a handsome man that can impregnate them. Then they take the child and go away. It's very normal now. It's no longer an insult that a woman has a child. No, it's no longer an insult that you have given birth out of your father's house. But you and I know in those days that when a girl delivers out of the father's house, the entire community that's never been part of that family begins to treat the girl with a lot of disdain. They begin to look at you like some alien. How come you gave birth out of your father's house? Because we were hearing words like that. He born out of a pie house, that girl, no picky height, he born out of a pie house. And that thing that you gave birth to a child out of your father's house was a stigma in the society. But it's no longer the trend. This time around, ladies will look at you and tell you, I want to have a child with you. As a matter of fact, they go to the extent of looking for married men and ask the married men to impregnate them. That's the height things have gone to. Why? Somebody will tell because time is passing, age is passing, I don't have anybody to marry me, so why should I stay here? Let me give birth to a child at least at old age they can give me water to drink. These are trends we are hearing of recent. And the lady would tell you that, no, I cannot live like that and just die. I'll look for somebody and give birth to my child. As a matter of fact, right inside the church, they will look at you and tell you, if God has not given me a husband, I cannot remain like that. I need someone that at my old age I can lean on, I can call, I can instruct, or the person can take care of me. And you realize that girls, even in the church, who have waited upon God for a husband for a very long time, they cannot have a husband. They will look for a man that will impregnate them. And once the man impregnated, they will tell them, the man, that we are no longer interested in you going to spend any money for the child. We will take care of the child. At least we have somebody that at the end of it, they can call you mama. They can call you mama. They can call you mommy. So this is the reason why you see this thing is fast becoming an accepted reality. Because it's not just a reality, it's becoming an accepted reality. There can be a reality that's not accepted, but I can tell you this day, it is accepted by almost every part of the society, from the village to the council to the church, everywhere becoming an accepted reality. And people will now give, when they give birth to such children, they begin molding the children, and they tell you that your father is dead. Your father is dead. Your father abandoned us, just to damage the mindset. And they will tell you are my last hope. So the person's hope now becomes that boy or that girl they gave birth to. And now they begin to look upon that child as if that is the only assets they have in life. These are the kind of things that you see that keep unfolding almost every day until it has now become an accepted reality. One other thing also I want to lay emphasis is that there are also irresponsible men who make some women single mothers. You impregnate a girl, abandon the lady frustrates and then stays with the child. Then after some years, you want to come and seize the child. That lady will not give the child to. Because the lady feels like that's the trophy she got out of that mess she found herself with you. So they will stay with the child. Even if they don't happen to get married tomorrow to another person, that child happens to be the victory they got out of that relationship. So some men also are the ones who are pushing these young girls today. Some will impregnate you and outright deny the pregnancy. Some will impregnate you, run away. Some will impregnate you, give you promises and fake promises and go away. Some will impregnate you and also insult you for even carrying a child for them. These are some of the factors that contribute to bring this thing into play. And then now when somebody becomes very famous and popular, every woman also wants to have a child with that person. Oh, it's my baby papa, it's my baby mama.
Okay.
Those are the things.
Please, Mr. Liu, tell teachers to stop creating WhatsApp groups for studies purposes. Students tend to be sharing pornographic videos, and teachers don't bother to caution them. At times, I'm a teacher and I'm talking from experience. Good evening to you. Michael Fai is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Mr. Michael. And thank you for contributing. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks for much of this lesson. I think the message has been sent to the community and it's now left on us to practice it. I'm really have learned a lot. Okay, Elvis is writing from Yaoundé. One thing is that we are living in the last days of the world. See Timothy 3:4. But parents should do their best in training children in and Jehovah finish the rest. Let's move over to Bamenda to get the last intervention of Mrs. Assange Yvette.
Okay, so I want to say, Mr. Leo, that the children that are going wayward is both on the parents and both on the children themselves. I think everybody has a role to play. Now, if the parents are playing their role well, the children are equally responding, it will not be a problem. Unfortunately, children today, they can outsmart you. I mean, they can do things right there under your nose. You not even know it. I mean, a child can go out within 30 minutes and commit an abortion and come back to the house. You don't even know. So the way children today are smart, it will also need us parents to sit up. If we don't sit up and begin to see the ways that the children are using. I mean, I had a child under my roof. A child that's going to one of the schools that you can say the principal is very strict. but yet the child could outsmart the principal. Since she was in from 5, sorry, when Form 2 are closing, she joins Form 2, you know. So since they open the gate, they'll just open the gate. Everybody's going out. They say, no, this is Form 2 that has closed. She leaves Form 2. She leaves her class, joins Form 2 with the other, with the boyfriend. And they go to the boyfriend's house. Studies are going on. They go to the boyfriend's house, have their good moments there. Then immediately she knows that the time that Form 5 closes, she comes out, joins the other Form 5 students, and she's coming home. I mean, imagine this kind of a scenario. It takes a smart parent to know this. It takes a smart parent. Now, what should we do? We need to, if you are giving your child a cell phone, sometimes just surprise them and check what they do with those cell phones. I mean, surprise them. They should not know when you are taking the cell phones. Maybe, the cell phone. It could be maybe when they are sleeping. It could be when they are bathing. Sometimes equally just come and search their bags, school bags, without even announcing it, search their school bags, take their books and search. I'm telling you the truth, sometimes if you see what children does, you can just open the pages of their school books. You might be shocked to see certain numbers. I mean, contacts, phone contacts that you don't even know what they are for. So we need to be conscious on our children. Equally, we need to bring them closer to us. Unfortunately, teenage age is that kind of a period in a child's life that they look up to their friends more than they look up to their parents. The more the parents struggle to bring them closer, the more they try. They know that, no, mommy will only disturb me, daddy will only disturb me. They want to hang out with those same friends of the same age group where they will begin to feel free and discuss certain things that maybe they cannot discuss with the parents. So at one moment, if we have to get their attention back to us, we cannot make it open to also discuss those kind of things with them. Is it wrong to discuss about them maybe being admired by a boyfriend or being admired by a guy or somebody is asking them out? No. The earlier we make it open to discuss these things and then tell them that it is not the right time, the better. If we keep saying that, no, hey, you cannot have a boyfriend. If you want to be very hard, you will lose it as a parent. But there are moments that you need to be very hard. There are moments that you need to be soft. You need to understand the seasons. We are dealing with children that are even, some of them can manipulate cell phones better than we do. Some of them can use social media better than we do. So if we want to work with them, we need to be an extra step ahead of them. Let's bring them closer to us, talk with them. What is happening in school? You know, you're a beautiful girl, right? So it's normal that boys will approach you. So what is happening? Is any boy talking to you? You know, you begin to make that atmosphere conducive where they can begin to share those very sacred things with you. If they feel comfortable, they will unfold things that you've never even thought of. But all the same, it's still, the tendencies of a child still going wayward, even after doing all of these things, is still high. So what I will say is that we pray for our children. We need to put them in constant prayers. Because sometimes it's only God that can stop them from doing certain things. We will not be there with them. You will not leave work following your children in school. You will not leave work. I mean, children go to school, you think that they're in school, they leave and they go. You cannot follow them up. So we need to pray seriously for this generation, because I don't know what kind of generation these children will become. The rate of sexual immorality, the rate of waywardness is really, really alarming. That's my take, Mr. Leo. Thank you so much. And let me just quickly say this. Please, we have a seminar in Bamenda, 13th of August, which is my birthday. Book your tickets and be part of that program. Thank you so much, Mr. Leo.
Very much, Mr. Sanji Yvette. Single parenting. Can we also say that this growing phenomenon is as a result of the difficulty to get a husband because husbands are becoming the most scarce, and maybe because of age, some girls would just want to have at least the children if they cannot have a husband.
Yes, yes, yes. It is. The truth is, we must also agree or accept that the climate, like I always say, the socio-cultural climate has changed. And you'll be surprised to know that some people are actually pressured even by their own parents to give birth. Yes, sometimes the pressure is not only on social media. Sometimes I've seen many girls where their mom or their grandmom tells them, born the pikin can't give me, I go take care. So many of them. In fact, when they start getting this pressure from 25 years old, we yet, I'm telling you, from 25, by 30, the mother is saying, look, even if master no day, born pikin, I want carry my grandpikin, I want carry my great grandpikin, and all of that. We have seen this happen a lot of times. So now some of the girls are forced to look for somebody, a good specimen, who can provide that child. Secondly, also, there are some ladies who have chosen a career path, and that career path does not permit or does not allow them maybe to settle either now or in the near future, or maybe they are not seeing the person that they could be with, and some of them have chosen that, okay, at so and so time, after I've done this, I've done that, if I'm not yet married, I'll just have my child and begin to take care of my child, especially since many girls are they are making money now. And so most of them, that's why you go on social media, you see on Father's Day, you hear mothers, single mothers calling themselves fathers, and bragging that they are the fathers of their children. I keep telling people, I say, no, you cannot take that role, no matter what it is. So even if the father is an irresponsible father, but he's still the father. So I think this is what things that happen. And shockingly, Mr. Lee, I discovered that the rate of promiscuity right now, some of the greatest people who are promiscuous are single moms. This is a whole research I've done. I work with a lot of youths. The truth is, it is easy to justify promiscuity as a single mom. So most of them say, no, I do this, I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for my daughter, I'm doing it for my son, I'm doing this to take care of. It's so easy. In fact, the number of young girls who have children now, and in fact, when we were doing studies, especially in our Munya community, where we saw how an 18-year-old girl is having 2 children, and we're finding out why 2, and from 2 different fathers. We discovered that a lot of the second and the third always comes about in their bid to take care of the first. You understand? Like, they had the first child, and maybe because normally this guy finally beat them, drive them back to the house.
Of course.
Then now, because of when the first became up quarter, second became down quarter. So when they got the first child, and maybe sometimes because the parents of these girls themselves cannot take care of these girls, they allowed their children to go and stay with these boys. Now, after she had that child, they had a problem. Maybe they've beaten her, or the boy is drunk, because these people are also alcoholics, all of that. She comes to the house, in her bed, another boy comes and says, no, I go take care of you, are your Pekin. And that's how she got pregnant again. So I think there's a lot that is happening right now. Like I said, the socio-cultural climate has changed, and that's why also I think also one of the solutions I brought about this also for us to raise professional mates with the kind of value system, because we always need them, whether we like it or not. The earlier we start looking at this thing in a particular way, that means we create systems where we can have people who can be able to stand a gap in a certain level, not like replace to a certain level, because we can, at this point in time, I don't think we can say that we can do it again without having such people to help us in the house. Mates with the right values, with the right, you yourself, the kind of things you want to imbibe in your children. But because what are we going to do? Because as the way this thing is going, it's becoming more complicated by the day.
Apostle Mbi Wellington Ngwa, single mother. Who is giving them the courage to boast about what they are doing? Is it the fact that they are desperate, or this growing feminist tendencies?
It's a trend, Mr. Leo.
Okay.
It's a trend. When a trend sweeps across a particular community and is accepted, it becomes a prestige.
Okay.
What was considered as insult yesterday has become a prestige today. Being a single mother, you were not qualified to get married in those days, because when a man finds out, he will just want to jilt you away. But this time around, women boast of being single mothers because they feel like it's no longer a stigma. The society, the culture, and even the environment has accepted this reality. So it's no longer difficult. You realize that a lot of things that were an insult or abuse in the past, because of civilization, or put it that way, or modernity, or the exposure of some of the things of the West in Africa, they have now become a reality. I was listening to a lady and she said she uses her son to satisfy herself. A Ghanaian lady. I wonder how somebody can sit in front of a camera and say that her son satisfies her. And you understand what I mean? What was considered as incest in those days, this time around, is no longer a challenge. What was considered as an insult of being a single mother in those days is no longer a challenge. As a matter of fact, we have been so educated, our minds have been so re-engineered to the extent that some things we used to see, even in the church, Mr. Liu, when you were pregnant in those days without people knowing who the man that impregnated you was, you were kept behind the seats. But some people are leading praise and worship with pregnancy of children who don't know their fathers. There are people in church who are in active leadership with pregnancy of children who don't know their fathers. So some things have been accepted to the extent that even the church that was supposed to be the one to denounce those things, the church has accepted those realities. And so now nobody is guilty. Because I think if the society rejects something, it puts guilt in you, it puts a kind of fear in you. But because there's no longer fear, those things are very, very normal. And you ask, why do they get such boldness? Because the society has accepted them. It has accepted them. And it has given them a place in the society. It has even given them a name, baby mama. And that's because nobody is insulting them again for having a child. But in those days, they will insult you. You will pass the neighborhood, they will say, ooh, your age mates, your classmates will be insulting you. Then to the extent that they are even saying that in our schools, you have the right to come to school with pregnancy. Pregnancy in those days when we were in school, if a girl becomes pregnant, they hide her or they send her to the village. But this time around, girls have a pregnancy in their classrooms because the law now gives them license to attend school and go to school. Because of that, no child feels rejected. Education is not affected. Community does not reject you. You have become a reality. So that boldness is there because people normally run away from things that brings disgrace, brings shame, brings fear. But there's no longer disgrace in baby mama. There's no longer fear. There's no longer shame. They have been accepted. As a matter of fact, they even have men that run after them. So because of that, I don't see why they shouldn't be, why they should be afraid anymore, not coming publicly and having their babies.
Okay. Good evening. Why is it that most single parents that raise their children alone without any papa for a corner but grow with their mom and be responsible more than other children that have both parents and single children always see life different in the society? So learn to accept any condition you find yourself. Boss Lady is writing from Limbe. Good evening to you, Boss Lady. Sex is between men and women. Why is single motherhood made a problem of the women? Do they get themselves pregnant? Do the old way has been to educate the girl child, but what about the boys? I think boys have been neglected for so long and they are the ones who act out of adventure than the girls. So I propose that both boys and girls be educated on this topic. If we make it a girls thing, we are repeating the mistake of the past when men were free and women punished for infidelity. Good evening to you all in the studio. Mr. Liu, please help me with Apostle Ambe's number. It's Collins writing from Fundong. Please, I really do need his number. You write to me after the program. Hi, good evening to everyone on board. I really think this single mother issue should be well addressed. I too am a single father, but there is nothing to brag about it because no matter the effort I make to take care of my children alone, the part of a mother is always lacking. So single parenting can't give your child the best assist they need in life. Malewa Destin, writing from St. Pete's, that is in Boya. Good evening to you, Destiny. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I just want to ask this question to Apostle Ambe. What should a guy do in a situation where the guy impregnates a girl, the girl puts to bed, and after 5 months, the guy discover that the girl is 2 months pregnant from another guy. It's Valentine writing from Amanda. I'm sure we had something similar. Yes.
Are you sure that the first child, you're the one that impregnated her?
This is the second time we are having this same complaint.
How are you convinced that you impregnated her with the first child? Because if I thought the child is still in her hand and then she after 2 months she's pregnant again, she must have probably been with somebody and you just came there to top it. But except it's a medical case. Except the doctors will tell us something out. But if it is the normal life we are seeing, my brother, somebody have mounted that thing that you are calling your child.
Okay. The development of romantic relationships in childhood and adolescence is a complex topic influenced by various factors. At a young age, children may express interest in having a boyfriend or girlfriend as a way of mimicking adult relationships they observe. It can also be influenced by media, peers, or social norms. However, it is important to note that it is a young age. These relationships are typically innocent and based on friendship rather than romantic love. It is crucial for parents and caregivers to provide guidance, educate children about appropriate boundaries, and promote healthy social interactions. It is advisable to foster open communication and create a safe environment for children to discuss their feelings and relationships. Apostle Epia writing from Boya. Good evening to you. Apostle. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm really enjoying the program. It's better to be a single mother than to be with an irresistible and violent man. Yes, is she not all right here? Because things may be difficult. I said that already.
Somebody responsible, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I think from the beginning, when I began to talk about this topic, I had to make something clear. Somebody should not just watch from the middle and think we are vilifying single moms. No. We are saying that, for example, there are many reasons why somebody can be a single mom. Somebody can actually be, a widow can be a single mom. Not only widow, somebody that, like Apostle Ambea said, some men are actually very irresponsible. It happens. In fact, most of the times when I talk to ladies, I say, I'm not trying to say that you are at fault. I am saying that it is better for you to understand that this thing will affect you more and protect yourself more, even from these irresponsible men. The things that when we try to help them, they think we are trying to belittle them.
Yeah.
No. As a man can enter a town and pregnant 4 women before leaving that town and goes to his life and nothing will happen. But as a woman, biology itself is not fair by the fact that you are the one carrying that seed. So no matter what, even if you will give that child to your mom or to your family or whatever and continue life, at least 9 months to 1 year of your life must be affected. I think just that alone should make somebody to think twice. But does that mean that somebody should not walk away from a relationship that is unhealthy because they have given birth? We have said that many times here, that of course all of us have agreed that we can actually break up even plus marriages that is life threatening. But we have also said here, you see a lot of time we have also said that, but sometimes some of the factors, the complex factors of divorce and everything also involves children. So we are not here vilifying single mothers and make us say that's the worst thing that can happen. My problem is this reactive nature they have because it has become common. Oh, what are you saying? Are we bad people? No, we are not saying we're bad people, but we are saying that we cannot pass a narrative to the world that this is the sure thing to do, because that will keep us doing it more and more, which is not the norm. We are saying that that is not something that we should celebrate. We are just saying we should be careful and work more, because it's not something to be celebrated. We are not saying that these people are bad people or not bad, because like I told somebody, I said biology is not fair to women, even the effect on their body. We're not the one who made it like that. But the man will continue his life, his school, but your own might be affected. So that should make you more protective. Should men not protect themselves? Of course, when we are brought up topics here that will focus on men as well. So we have talked about even irresponsible men. But look at, as a woman, your beautiful future. Take responsibility of it and protect yourself in such a way that you will not fall prey to such irresponsible men that will put you in a condition that it looks as if you are at the mercy of the society. We are not saying you are a less of a human. We are not saying that there is no self-esteem. We are just saying that we should stop celebrating it as if it is something worth celebrating. There is still honor in having a family unit. There is still honor. Yes, people can choose to have children for different reasons, but that does not mean that that is a norm. We are saying that we have started making it like a norm and it's affecting the future. I think that's the basic thing that we are trying to say here, not vilifying single moms.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Very interesting and educative topic today. Shout out to all of you in the studio. I'm impressed. I like the way you both are teaching with lots of demonstrations and emphasis. I think I'm learning a lot. Thank you. Good evening. The program is cool. Thanks for educating us, John, watching from Limbe. Good evening, Mr. Leo and team. Such a wonderful topic. In addition to what has been said, I want to chip in that one of the causes of increase in single mothers is pressure from Christians within the church. We now live in a society where Christians are the ones pointing fingers at those who are not yet married and start encouraging them to do whatever because time is going. The church today is to a greater extent is no longer that place where you can get solace in the midst of challenges. It is a place where those Christians who are doing tend to look at those who have not yet achieved certain things as those they have a problem or they don't belong to that church. That causes most ladies to go out and have children. After all, they can only be punished after giving birth. The church needs to sit up, especially the leaders. Martha, writing from Boya, blessed new month to you. Martha, thank you, and same to you. Can the church actually be indexed for this? Maybe many sisters are giving testimonies that want to celebrate my child. And then those who don't have, there's always a tendency for some persons in church to think that God is not blessing them.
Yeah. I said it here earlier. I'm talking as a churchman.
Okay.
I said it earlier. There are ladies who believe that time is running out.
Okay.
Men are not forthcoming. So definitely they need to get somebody that at their old age, somebody can be as a succora, a kind of supporter, somebody that can strengthen or stand along with them. Somebody say, I will not get picking, I not get math, I not get also picking. You hear statements like that. So they quietly go, collect their pregnancy, come and see them there and tell you that God will forgive them after they deliver. But at least they have a child that can stand with them at their old age. And equally, they have somebody they can sponsor in school tomorrow that can give them water or bread to eat. That loneliness, I don't have a husband, I think I should have a child that can keep me company. And when they give birth to those children become very dear to them. That they find it sometimes difficult to correct the child. And they will fight and kill everyone that tries to give the child hard discipline because they feel like you want to kill the only thing that they are counting or relying on for survival. And I think it's something that is all of vibing the churches especially. People have entered into that dimension. I know a lot of single mothers who were in church as single sisters, and then time was running out, and then they felt like, time is rushing, husband is not forthcoming. Let me look for somebody that will impregnate me. And there are brothers there also who do the job. And when they get the job done, the lady stays with the pregnancy, gives birth to her child. After all, she will tell you that God has forgiven her. She continues and she begins to mold the child and grow up the child. So the church has not stopped them from doing that because in the past, the church was strict over it, but it still happened. People got pregnant, they were kept behind bars, they were kept behind on black seats in the church. They were even sometimes excommunicated from the church. And because of that, they moved to other churches that accepted them. With the fact that some messages have come up this time around, that if you are kicked out in church A for fornication, church B will take you, wash you, clean you, anoint you, and put a collar on your neck as a pastor. That means the rebel of the former church is a deacon in the new church. The criminal of the former church is a pastor ordained in the new church, because we don't even trace people's spiritual maturity people's spiritual record and we don't even track down where they are coming from. Once they come and increase the number in our churches, once they bring the tithes and the offerings, once they come to make us feel comfortable as fathers and mothers, we are left with no choice to accept them the way they come, and then even give them ranks and positions that the former church. I have seen somebody who left a church as a criminal and the next church put him an assistant pastor. So how do you explain that? So the situation is not even helped at the level of the church. But one thing we are saying on this platform today is that single motherhood is not a prestige, and you should not boast about it. On the other hand, we are not insulting those who by accident or by some unforeseen circumstances found themselves into the situation. What we are trying to do is we are trying to halt the next generation from entering into this thing thinking that is a prestige, because people have developed a name for it, baby mama. That baby mama does not add any value. It doesn't plus anything, because you realize that even those who are baby mamas, they are focused on the women they have in their homes. For instance, they are talking about Davido, baby mama, but you see he's focused on the woman that he has in the house. Two-faced Dibia, baby mama, and baby mama, you realize the baby mama, some distant person, why the woman who lives in the house legally married is the one that has properties and has the right to all what the man owns. You are going to be like a woman that was kept on the reserve bench. Their dignity and your honor for womanhood is trampled upon. So we are trying to bring back that dignity and to restore your value, rather than making you follow a trend that will make you lose relevance and value in the society. So we are not here to insult you, but we are here to guide you so that you grow up to be that responsible, attractive woman of integrity and class that the society and your parents and your family have been hoping to see.
Good evening, Mr. Leo, and a big shout out to all of you in the studio. I've learned so many things this evening. Thank you. Glad to read that from you. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and to everybody. Thank you guys for the great job you're doing. Okay. This one says, good evening, Mr. Leo. Can I have Apostle Ambe's number? Madam, it was texting from Tico. Okay. Apostle Ambe. She wants Apostle Ambe's number. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm texting from Tico. My child takes orders, but from the father. He says, I'm so strict, so I need your advice, madam. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please, I just want to thank the entire crew of my Media Prime, for I have learned a lot today. Much thanks to Apostle Ambe and the other apostle. Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I am Mr. Atenkeng, a teacher by profession writing from Bedi Douala. I am pleased to follow your live program. I think that what the lady said from Bamenda to discuss love affairs with children is not good. To me, the children are supposed to see this as a taboo. Let's take example from 2000s. We are not supposed to laugh with these children. The worst is the decision that allows pregnant women in school. Very soon we will have more than 50% of students pregnant in class. Okay. That's the teacher talking. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Nice topic for today. Please, can I have Apostle Ambe's contact? Habibatu is writing from Banyo. Good evening to you, Habibatu. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I love and applaud your programs. I wish all of Cameroon was up and on to learn these things. Truly, our children are going where what parents are failing, and society as a whole is going to suffer. Thank you for always using this platform to feed your audience with enriched knowledge. My prayer is for parents to reawaken and become conscious of their roles as parents. Parents are parents first before workers or career persons. And for the single mothers, we love and honor your efforts, but I would say we shouldn't use our mistakes as a defense to mentor and train a generation into what is wrong. Let's stop celebrating it. It's not something worth celebrating. Yeah. Please, for the contact of Mrs. Sasanji Yvette, I'd love to attend her program here in Bamenda. Rafa writing from Bamenda. Rafa, can you guys just write me after the program? Apostle Lefo, thank you for coming all the way from Boya.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm very honored, and I would just want to use this opportunity to say thank you to all the viewers of my Major Prime. And in my concluding statement, I would like to say that, trust me, parenting is not an easy job. Most single mothers only discover after the children have come that it goes beyond having where the child will live and what the child will eat. In fact, it has put a lot of pressure on many single mothers to even become more promiscuous than they could ever imagine. I say this as a counselor and as a consultant. It has not been easy. So be very sure, count the cost of bearing a child as a single before engaging in activities that can put you in such a position. I'm also excited and just want to let people know that on the 20th of this month of August, we are going to be having the 7th season of Meet the Love Doctor live in Boya at Chariot Hotel. 20th is a Sunday, 20th of August by 3 p.m. with the red carpet. It's going to be awesome. We want to talk about choosing the right partner. It's going to be amazing. Choosing the right partner is gonna be awesome. So I just want to invite everybody. They can get tickets. Regular is 3,000, VIP is 10,000 francs. Thank you.
Hi, good evening to you. One major reason why we have more single mothers is the fear of death or complications during abortions. There is more stigma to abortion than single motherhood. In the midst of this, there is always the compassion for the baby they are carrying. So they would prefer to have the baby than abort it and have their conscience judge them their entire life. We all know abortion isn't a good thing. If abortion didn't have the stigma to it, we would have more toilet babies than baby mamas. Mr. Kicha David is writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Lifong Vincent writing from Pendamboko. This program is very interesting. We are now an Android generation that children views unacceptable images in phone, televisions, computers. So we just need to put firm instructions to them. Good evening and thanks to all of you in the studio for the good work you are doing to all of us. Please, for Apostle and base number, Tikum Nicodemus is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Nicodemus. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Wow to all of you in the studio. I'm glad with the topic. I pray it makes meaning in our degrading society. Thanks to all of you for this educative topics. Madam Evelyn is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Madam Seidu Mayariam. I'm writing from Kumba, and I'm very pleased with your program. And I myself am a single mother. My greetings to all of at the studio, and especially to Apostle Ambe. You are doing great. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thank you for bringing this topic to our screens. It has really impacted us as new parents. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to you, cool panel. The program of today is a splendid one. I really enjoyed it. The simple fact that this Mr. Leo tell your children the truth. Roland is writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thank you for the good work. Please, for Apostle and base number, Ngwa Nzi is writing from Boya. Thank you, Apostle, for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Leo, and I want to appreciate all the viewers who have contributed one way or the other for encouraging us also to be here every Tuesday to educate you. I'll be ministering a conference organized by Reverend Dr. Chide Okorafor, beginning tomorrow Wednesday at Horizon College, Bonaberi, and one of my books also will soon be out, the socio-economic, political, spiritual, scientific, and the military aspect of the Holy Spirit. So get ready, that book is going to impact your life terribly. If you need a copy, just get to my inbox or you get my number. God bless you.
Thank you, Apostle, and to the production team. We want to thank you all who took time off to watch this edition of the program, especially those who participated by way of sending text messages. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.